Hi, my name's Sean Robbins, and I graduated from the Joint Youth Ministry, I guess, in 2009. And I am currently attending UC Berkeley, and I'm a senior there, so I'm about to graduate actually in the spring of 2013, just this next spring. I think what I loved about the Joint Youth Group so much is just, basically everything, but I think the friendships I made and the opportunities I had to learn, to grow, to just hang out and have a really good time with a lot of really cool people. I think that was my favorite part about being part of the Joint Youth Ministry. Just getting to meet some of the coolest people I know, who I'm still really good friends with. Every time I come back from college, I just go and hang out with them a lot. I hang out with people from school, from Berkeley too, but I always know that I can come back and I'll have a handful of 5 or 10 kids who I can go and hang out with whenever I want to, and even 4 years later, even if I haven't seen them in a year, we're still great friends and we can come back and it's like nothing's ever changed, we've never left. So I think some of the spiritual experiences that shaped me, I guess the two biggest ones that I can think of were the mission trips that we went on. The Mexico mission trip and probably YouthWorks and SSP. So I think just getting to one of the things I always remember that Lisa told us was that you have to turn yourself off, unplug basically. Leave your cell phone and iPad, and I guess I didn't have iPads then, but iPods and iPhones and stuff. You gotta leave those at home. You can bring them for the car ride, but once you get there, you have to be present and you have to be in the moment, thinking of what we're doing at that specific time, and not thinking about your friends back home and your games you can be playing on your iPod and stuff like that. You gotta be present and you gotta be spiritually there. And I think that was something that was really, it helped shape who I am today a lot, I think. I try to think as much as I can in the present, and that's not to say don't think about the past or the future at all, but I think it's really important to live in the present, to make use of the time you have right now, right here and now. And that's one thing I really liked about the mission trips. And I also think that just getting to be out in a different part of the country, or if you're talking about Mexico, even a different country, getting to go see those different types of places is really useful and really calming, I guess you could say. We saw a lot of poverty there, and it kind of shakes you, it kind of rocks your world. And shakes everything up. We get so used to living in San Jose or in Berkeley and getting to see, just the same people every day. You kind of close off from the rest of the world and forget that people live in different circumstances than we do. I think going and seeing people in Arizona and Nevada and Montana and Mexico and getting to see how they live and how different their lives are from us and from ours is really an important thing that I think a lot of teenagers never get to see, and I think I like to think I'm a better person because of it. I like to think that I have a better world view and world outlook, especially in the terms of poverty, because of that. So I think that getting to be away from the life we have here in San Jose and in Berkeley, and getting to see the different ways of life that other people have is really, really important and really life-changing, I think. It sounds cliche, but it's true. So, a couple crazy things that we've done. There are so many. Every day was a crazy day with youth group. But I think the ones that I can think of off the top of my head are, I had to have been 16. I guess I was in junior year of high school, and maybe sophomore year. And we were at Willow Glen, and we were playing Capture the Flag, and I don't know if it was because Lisa was getting bored, or if the game was getting unsafe, or people just needed a change, but in the middle of the game, Lisa just says, okay, let's not do this anymore, this game's dumb. What we should do instead is see, and she did her little try to come up with something really fast but make it look like it was already planned type thing. You know the one, Lisa. We all know. And so she said, let's see how many people we can fit into Sean's car. So, for those of you who don't remember, my car is a 1996 white two-door Toyota Tercel, the one that barely looks like it can carry 2 people. But we crammed, if I remember the number correctly, I believe it was 25 people into my car. We had 6 sixth graders in the trunk. We had about, oh god, probably 12 people in the back seat. We had like 3 people in the front passenger seat, and then 2 people, I think, in the front driver's seat. One the first of which was Tim Fisk, and I remember very specifically because he was so tight in there, he was so packed in there that he literally could not stop honking the horn with his chest because he was crushed in there so tightly. That was one good memory. Second one, I think, was the last youth group for the seniors, my senior year in 2009, before we left for college, where we all dressed up like seniors, but senior citizens. And so I remember very specifically, Robert and I dressed up together. Robert was in a wheelchair. I was dressed up as his elderly wife, I suppose. And we were walking down the aisle. They had 2 rows of all the other high schoolers, and we were walking down the aisle. And right before I started pushing him down the aisle in his wheelchair, Robert found one of those back scratcher things, and he decided it would be pretty funny to stick it underneath his robe and make it look like he was a little bit excited. And so that's how we went down the row, and it was a pretty memorable experience, if not because it was so funny, probably more because it was so awkward. But it's definitely one I still remember to this day. And then I guess, who can forget the trash can game? I don't know, that was my personal favorite game. I like to think that it's just the best game ever invented, but definitely some good times with that one. I think one of my favorites was at CYE, and we were playing because we had a whole bunch of extra time, so we started teaching the other kids there how to play the trash can game, and it got down to me and this other girl from another church, but this other girl was probably like 2 or 3 times my size. Okay, I'm exaggerating. She was like 6 feet tall, I think, and I got down to me and her, and I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be fun, but I don't know how exactly, but I ended up beating her, and that was a pretty exciting time. I was very excited. That was, I think, the only time I've ever won the trash can game, so that was a good day for me. Okay, so I guess the joint youth group has had a lot of leaders throughout the years. Just to name a few: Kat, Lisa, Landon, CJ, Jason, Allison Praisewater. I'm trying to think of more, but those I think are the biggest ones who stayed around for the longest time. And I've connected with all of them on some level. I've definitely enjoyed all the leaders we've had. I think the biggest ones, though, that I've really connected with are probably, obviously, Lisa. Lisa's always been a great mentor for me, and she's always, guided me along the way, helping me out when I needed help in sticky situations, and just always giving me advice whenever I needed it, and she's always there for me. She always checks back up on me. Sometimes, even in college, she'll send me a text once a year or once or twice a year, and during my freshman year, she came up and visited Brandon, Coco, and I, and took us out for lunch. So Lisa's always been a really big part of my life ever since 6th grade, and I really appreciate everything she's done for us, putting together the youth group, helping me become the person I am today. I think she's really played a big part in that, and especially for giving me all the friends I have now. I can't even count on both hands and feet the number of friends I've taken away from youth group and who I still talk to. Lisa's made a huge impact on my life in more ways than I think I even realize at this point. Next, I'd say I really connected with Landon Jacobs. He's been a really great person and great leader in the youth group. He didn't do so much towards the end of my time at youth group once I got into high school. But even in the early days, I still remember he was always there at every youth group. He was always helping out. He didn't need to be, but he always volunteered and helped Lisa. And he was just a really cool guy. I remember being in his car a couple times when we went to various events, and just getting to talk to him was always really fun. He has great outlooks on life and great stories to tell, and he's just a really cool guy. I love spending time with him. I remember one year we were coming back from, I guess it was SSP at that point, and he decided that we were in a rental van, one of those 15-passenger vans, and we were on a really straight part of the road, and he's like, okay guys, I'm going to do it. And we're like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm hitting 100. We're going to go 100 miles an hour. And I was like, uh-oh, okay, this is a little bit scary, but okay. So he starts gunning it and flooring it. And we're getting up to like 95, 96, 97, and then apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently all 15-passenger vans, at least rental ones, come with a built-in safety mechanism where once you hit 98 miles an hour, they slow back down to about 70, and they won't let you hit 100. We tried several times, but we never could make 100, which was rather disappointing, but it was also pretty fun. So that's one good story I remember about Landon. Other than Landon, I think CJ has also made one of the biggest impacts in my life, especially as, outside of youth group and as a youth group leader. CJ's a really cool guy. He's really fun to hang out with. He's always good for a laugh or two, always telling jokes. And he was a mentor to me, even, when I didn't have any other male role models in my life, I guess. He's always helped me out in that regard, and it's been really nice getting to talk to him and getting to know him and just hanging out with him and having fun. I remember Jude and I met with him for coffee once or twice, and we gave him, Jude and I had just went to Target, I think, and bought Nerf swords, and so we bought him one, and then we surprise attacked him when we were out in the parking lot with two of our own, and we had a Nerf sword fight in the middle of a parking lot. That was pretty fun. That's just the type of stuff that CJ does, and that's why we love him. So I guess the big overall message, I think, for the importance of the Joy to Youth Ministry is, at least for me, it gave me a really sturdy place on which to build my faith, and it gave me an abundance of friends I never would have had otherwise. I didn't always have a lot of great friends in high school. In middle school I did, but then I changed schools from a public school to a private Catholic school, MIDI, and I had to basically start over with new friends. And throughout high school, I made some good friends in school, but I never really made the connections I did with people from youth group. And, attribute that to what you will. Maybe it's just because I was with them all through middle school and already knew them, or maybe it's just because I got along better with them, but whatever the case, I have some of my best friends I can easily say, if not my best, are from youth group. And even to this day, we don't see each other because they're spread out throughout the country for most of the school year, but when we come back on breaks and when we come back over the summer, we get together and hang out, and it's like nothing ever changed. We can do basically anything together. We have spent many an evening at my house. I'm sure many people can attest to this. Just playing board games and eating food, and even sometimes just reminiscing about the games we've played in youth group and the people we've talked to, the debates we've had, the trips we've taken, all that good stuff. We've just spent hours talking about that. Oh, and also about how many matches in relationships Lisa's tried to hook people up with, and how many have actually came true. We've realized that, Lisa, you didn't have a great track record with that, although you did have a pretty good track record with mine, so I guess I'll give you that one. But anyways, just the friends, the great friends that I've made through youth group have been fantastic, and I hope they last a long time. I'm hoping they're for life. And the experiences I've had, I never would have been to as many states as I have been. If it weren't for youth group, I never would have gotten to travel as much, never would have gotten to help out as much, and I don't think that I ever would have been nearly as involved or interested in poverty and in poverty alleviation and the big issue of homelessness in the world today. And as a result, I have had several internships working with nonprofits to alleviate poverty, and I'm actually minoring in global poverty and practice at Berkeley, which centers around the idea of how we can help fix or alleviate at least poverty in the world today. And without Lisa's help and without the Joint Youth Ministry, I don't think I ever would have had that interest, and I don't think I would be where I am today at all. I don't think I'd even be in Berkeley. So I think I have a lot to, I think I can attribute a lot of that to youth group and the work that Lisa has done. She's done an amazing job as a youth leader, as a friend, and she's an amazing woman, and I appreciate everything she's done for us. And I appreciate that she made Joint Youth Ministry where I have grown up and I guess really overall became the person I am today. I think I owe a lot of that to Lisa and the Joint Youth Ministry.